to record this webinar. So we will send the recording out to any of you that are here. We also, Danielle has said she is willing to share the deck as well. So we are happy to send that out afterwards, just so you don't have to scribble too many notes throughout, and you can just listen to her, because we will send the deck out as well. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Danielle Anderson, who's the Youth Program Supervisor at Altra Credit Union, and has graciously agreed to help share some of their exciting stuff with us today. Danielle, are you able to take over?
Yes, good morning, everyone. So as Kathleen said, my name is Danielle. I am the Youth Program Supervisor for Altra Federal Credit Union. And this is my first time doing a webinar, so I am a little nervous. And so bear with me. I might do a lot of ums and pause, but I will get through it, I promise. So to give you guys a little bit of background on myself, I did go to Winona State University in Minnesota, and I graduated with a degree in mass communications. And I had absolutely no intention on staying in the area or staying with the credit union. I started as a teller. It was just going to be, you know, that part-time job to get me through, and then I was going to take off for the big city and be in advertising. And somewhere along the way, I fell in love with credit unions and the message that they had. And like you guys probably, I ended up finding out that I really had a passion for it. And I stuck around. My position opened up just before I graduated, and they decided to take a chance on me right before I got my degree. And I've been in my role now for about 6.5 years, and slowly moving, adding new things, new programs, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about today, where we started when I first took over the program and how we got to where we are today. We do quite a few interviews throughout the country for our youth program, and I think we're pretty impressive, but I do think that what every other credit union does across the country is just as impressive as we are. So whether you're working with a tiny budget or an outrageous budget, it really doesn't matter, because everything that you do impacts everyone. And so kudos to everybody on this call and everything that you do. So to give you a little bit of background just on Altra, let's see if I can get the screen working here. Altra is currently $1.5 billion in assets, and we have just over 104,000 members in all 50 states. And we do have a few spread out in other countries as well. We do have 17 branches across 7 states. So we are located in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Texas, Tennessee, and then we actually started with the train plants, so heating and air conditioning. So we do still have a couple of offices inside a couple of train plants in Kentucky, New Jersey, and Colorado. And then we are also located in some high school offices, and we do have 2 of those. They're not the typical high school branches that you might think of. We don't have traditional teller lines. We actually have a technology branch. So we don't have a cash-based premise. We actually have a high school student that is employed at each of those offices, and we have an ATM. So we actually promote our e-services there versus having somebody do cash handling. And we promote our ATM, so we promote the debit card. And then we also promote online banking, so we promote the use of iPads and the mobile app, and those students that are employed there, teach them how to use it. So really going off of those e-services and getting them at that young age to use those services. So that's just kind of a little bit of a background on Altra and where we're located and our asset size. When I started in my position back in 2012, we were at $900 million. So in the 6.5 years that I've been in the position, we've grown about $100 million a year. And and we've actually grown our youth program about 66.5% with those 6.5 years. So about 10% each year. Of course, we've had some years better than others. So it's not actually 10% every year. Sounds a little bit better than it is. But we do take pride in our youth program. We have lots of different things that we do. And so that's going to kind of be what I go over with you guys today. If you want me to stop at any point, or if you have any questions at any time when I go over anything, feel free to use the chat box and stop. Or we do have a Q&A session at the end that you can feel free to hold your questions to as well. All right. So a little bit of background on the role. When I started off as a youth coordinator, and the role was relatively new. So they actually created the position in 2009. And the reason that they did that was because they felt that the youth was an asset to our membership base. They really wanted to have somebody that was a primary promoter of our youth products and services, and they wanted somebody that could really focus on our youth membership. They added the person because the youth market is valuable, and they wanted to make sure that somebody could dedicate a full-time resource to it. And so they added the position back in 2009, and it was something that hadn't necessarily been done before. It was umbrellaed under our learning and development area, or our training area. And this person promoted the programs that we had. So our youth accounts, opening the membership, retaining the membership, and then they were also kind of in charge of our junior achievement efforts, our financial education. We would go out into schools. We didn't really have somebody that was dedicated to going out into schools. We kind of just had our learning and development area doing that. We had a bunch of people creating presentations and just kind of relied on a bunch of people to be able to do that. And so this person was able to help with that and really kind of help create one area that all of these efforts could be housed under. And then as time grew on, we realized that this was a much bigger program. So we actually, in 2013 or 14, I believe, hired a full-time financial literacy coordinator as well. So I work very closely with him, and we still have that person on staff in our learning and development. And now that person goes into our schools full-time, does all of our presentations, and then also is in charge of doing our community seminars. And then my position is housed under marketing. So we kind of split the youth coordinator position in half, and I do all of our marketing efforts, and he does all of our financial education efforts. So we realized that this was a much bigger project than one person could take on. And there were really two legs of this position, the financial education and the marketing piece. And so the marketing piece is really what I do, and then the financial education piece is what he does, and then we coordinate our efforts for community seminars and things like that. And then we also have a youth committee that's in place. So our youth committee is something that I have a slide for on that is a little bit later, but it's just a brief background. It's a team that is made up of employees, and we just kind of meet on a regular basis to talk about things. And then we also have an M3 and Elements Money program, and these are the programs that are really shown to our members. It's clubs that our members are a part of, and this is what they see so that they know that they're included in something. And then we also have our cash mascot, and that's the photo that I have on this slide. And we added him to the program because we wanted children to have a figure that they could really look up to and that they could associate our program with. And we added him right away when I got on board because we had this character, but nobody really knew who he was. And as soon as we added him, we got him out into all of our parades. He does appearances at events, children's seminars, local libraries. And within the first 3 months of him being out there, everybody started calling him Ultraman. So they may not have been calling him Cash, like his name is, but the fact that they were associating him with our credit union really meant that the program was starting to take off, that they were associating him with our credit union, and it was successful. All right. Maybe. Okay. So then kind of going with our programs, we do have our M3 and Elements of Money programs. And with our M3 and Elements programs, we do get those through another company. And then we use those in all of our marketing pieces. And then with that, we also put them on our moon jars, which are given out to kids when they come in and open an account. Anybody that is 12 and under comes in and they get this moon jar. It's completely branded with Ultra and then our M3 characters. And we really like this because it gives them the idea of the save, spend, and share concept, which we've really incorporated into all of our programs. We incorporate that into the new account opening. We incorporate that into all of our youth seminars that we do. We incorporate that into all of our marketing messages that we send out, all of our financial education that we give out into classrooms. So we're always tying that message back into the credit union and letting them know, hey, we're not asking you to save everything. We're not asking you to spend everything or share everything. We really are telling you that all three of these concepts are together. And we think that that's a great concept for all kids to learn. And we have felt that the moon jars have really helped us get this concept across. And no matter where we go in the community, every time we bring one of these out, we have at least one kid that's like, oh, I got that like 2 years ago and I still have that in my room. So they do hold on to them. It's something that we have found that no matter what we're investing into this, they're really holding on to it, and they're really realizing that this is something that Ultra has given them. So that's been a really successful program as well. And a lot of church groups and school groups will ask us for donations of these. So again, that's something that we're able to give back into the community as well, that they're teaching their groups in addition to what we're teaching as well. And then when anybody comes in and opens an account, they have to join the credit union with $5. So they put their $5 in the account. And then if they are a youth member, so we consider that anybody 17 and under, we will actually match their $5 so that they can start their account with $10. And that's something that actually quite a few credit unions in our area do. And so we felt like this is a great way to start kids off on the right foot. And when they see that that money is automatically increasing, they get so excited. And they're like, oh my gosh, I doubled my money already. Like, this is so cool. Because a lot of kids, when they come in and they see that they have to give that money up, they really don't understand that they do get to keep that money. They're not giving that money away. So we want to make them know that, hey, just because you're giving it to us, it's still your money. So this is a really cool way to show them, hey, your money is actually increasing by you giving it to us, and this is a way for us to show them how it can increase. And then on the teenage side, so this kind of focuses more on the kids side. On the teenage side, when they come in and they open an account, they still get that match money as well. But if they provide an email address to us, we will actually email information to them. So kind of going back to that whole digital focus, and we email them all the information that goes over our e-services with them, and really starting that conversation about those e-services. And then we usually give them the option to take some type of like pop socket or something to go along with their phone to kind of really help instill that techie feel. All right. And then, let's see. So with our youth committee, kind of how it evolved. So when I started in this position, it was made up of mostly people that were member facing and came from the immediate La Crosse market, which is where our operations center is located. But as I mentioned in the beginning, we have members represented in all 50 states across several countries, and we have branches in several different states. So after I was in my role for a couple months, I decided that we needed to get some fresh blood on the committee. And so I sent out an email asking if new people wanted to join, because I wanted to make sure that several of our areas were represented. You know, we're not going to do things the same in Wisconsin as they might do in Texas or Tennessee. And so I got actually a very overwhelming response because I guess when I took on the role, the people who had been on the youth committee had been on there for several years already. So I got responses from people who were in the back office and from people who weren't even parents, or people who were maybe aunts and uncles, and, you know, men, women, so people who might be all around. And so it was great to be able to get new responses. And let's see, I did get a question here. Oh, yes, I will get to that in just a second. So yeah, I got all of these great responses, and one of the ways to join the youth committee was they had to answer a question. If they were interested in joining, what was one product or service that they would be interested in adding to our youth program, or what was one type of promotion that they would be interested in running. And so that was their entry, so to say, to get onto the youth committee. And then we now have somebody represented from every single one of our offices. And so now we have member-facing and non-member-facing people, and men, women, non-parents, parents. So people from all walks of life are represented on our youth committee. And then the question was brought up, how do we meet? And we meet over the phone and in person. So everybody who is able to meet in our La Crosse area meets in person, which is about 4 or 5 of us. We do have one person who is about a half hour. Their office is a half hour away from us, and sometimes they will drive. And then everybody else is over the phone. And we recently got Skype technology in some of our conference rooms, so we're starting to use that. So now we're able to see each other, which is great. So we get to use a little bit of everything to be able to see each other now and different things, which is awesome. Great question. And then as far as what we discuss, everybody on the committee is responsible for attending events and staffing different booths that we might have an event for. And then we all have to bring ideas to the table for new sponsorships or events that might be coming up. So I might know of an event that might be in our area, but I might not know of a really great event that's down in Texas. So it's really important that they're able to bring those things up to me that I might not be aware of. And then they also help develop new promotion ideas, and they really base it on things that they hear, maybe from their own kids or what they hear in the offices. Or maybe they're following a great trend that I haven't heard of that is out there. So they really are great at helping bring things to the table that maybe somebody else hasn't heard of or hasn't had the time to develop. And then what we're working on right now is helping develop our plan for Youth Month based on the CUNA theme. CUNA came out with their theme, Picture Your Future. So we've been working for the last month and a half on what we're going to do for Youth Month and how we're going to celebrate that in all of our offices and really get our staff amped up for celebrating that. So we've got 3 people on the team that are dedicated to just coming up with a plan for how to get our staff involved and how they're going to get them amped and what we're going to do for them. And then we've got a couple people on our team that are just dedicated to finding different things that we're going to give out to our members to help celebrate. So we've really broken up the committee into groups, and they're working together and emailing back and forth. And so it's a great way to also get other employees from different departments or different offices working together that might not have an opportunity to work together otherwise. Let's see, we did get another message. Plans for Youth Month and any promo items. So I will admit I'm a little behind this year on Youth Month. Usually I'd have everything out. I did contact CUNA and they're a little behind as well. But we do plan on doing a gift basket this year of different photo things. So we're gonna do a couple of prize drawings for some Polaroid cameras, I think. We don't have anything set in stone, but the youth committee wants to give away some Polaroid cameras in some of our offices. They want some of our members to take some photos and things like that. So that's an idea that we're developing. And then we are also looking at giving away some magnetic photo frames, the possibility of selfie sticks, but those are kind of expensive with the Bluetooth versions, so we might not go that route. And then we're also looking at maybe some webcam covers that work on phones and iPads, but they have this cute little, the name is escaping me, but they're like little buddies. So there's actually like a face on them, and they're screen cleaners. And one of my other vendors sent me like magic 8 balls. So we've got a couple of vendors that we work with that sent some really great ideas. And then one of the other things that the youth committee actually came up with is a shadow box. And they want to do a shadow box where you can stick a photo of what you want to save for, and you can write on the glass outside how much you need to save, and so you can see your savings growing, but then you can also see the picture in the back, and so you can really picture what you're saving for. So we thought that that really helped embody the picture your future. And so we really liked that idea, so we might do a couple of giveaways for those. Awesome. So yeah.
Danielle, would you be willing to send a couple of those links, and when we send out the deck, we could maybe send out a few of those items to people so they can
yes.
buy them, if that would be okay?
Yes, I certainly can. I will make a note right now.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. I know Youth Month is coming up a lot faster than I had anticipated, so.
It always does.
Yes, it does. But yeah, it's going to be a fun month. I love the theme this year, and I think it'll be really fun. We're looking at doing a lot on social media, but being with kids, it's kind of hard, so it's really, relying on them to post their own pictures versus us posting the pictures for them and things like that. But yeah, so that's really our youth committee and how they help get everything out there. And they're really the advocates in places where I can't be because, I'm in the back office, I'm in the marketing department, I'm not able to be out on the front lines and advocating for our youth accounts and with, our 450 staff members that we have. So it's great to be able to have somebody in all of the offices really ramping up our youth efforts and really talking up our youth accounts when I'm not able to do that, especially in our national markets, where I'm only there once a year, and talking to them over the phone or over email, you know, every once in a while isn't always the most productive, whereas they're there living it every day. So it's great to have that. All right. So again, this slide just brings us back to, you know, talking again about our focus on digital. We had the M3 and the Elements programs already when I came on board. And from my understanding, this is the longest that we've stuck with the same program. And I actually think that that has contributed to having the long-term growth of our youth accounts that we've had. We had a lot of turnover with different programs before, but I think that we've been able to be very successful with the programs that we've had, and that's really helped our members be able to associate with what we have. And to answer your question, Lori, Youth Savings Month is in April. And then with our digital, we added Ultra Junior back in 2016. We love the Ultra Junior program. It's been an amazing tool for us to really engage our younger members, ages 2 to 12. We've always had an aggressive growth goal. My VP of marketing really loves to see our growth, and in the first year, we wanted 5% of our membership ages 2 to 12 to have downloaded the app. So we really pushed it out there to our membership, and we actually ended the year with almost 6% of that membership base downloading the app. And at the end of 2018, we now have over 10% with the app downloaded. So now we're working on ways to continually keep them engaged, and you know, now we're working on ways of, you know, once we get that older group, how do we transition them? So we recently added the Bonsai Teen program, and we added that last year in May. And so we felt like this might be a good way to transition them. It is kind of the next step. It's not an app. It is a computer-based program. I know a lot of credit unions use the Bonsai program, and so it's very similar. The biggest difference is Bonsai Teen. It's not necessarily something that has to be offered in the classroom, so it's just on our website, and we branded it as Bonsai Teen. So our teen members are able to go out there and use the Bonsai program at any time. And what we've used to entice them is we give away a $50 gift card to anybody that completes it during the month. So if they complete it and they take the post test, then they're entered to win a $50 gift card. So that one hasn't taken off as well as Ultra Junior did. And I think the main reason for it is just because it's a computer-based program versus an app. You know, a lot of teens are on their phone. So we're continually looking at different ways to increase the usage of that program, and always looking at ways to use the digital, and always looking at ways to get them with financial education at the front of their minds, because no matter what age they are, it's important to always get them thinking, how can I save? What can I learn? You know, no matter what it is. And then speaking of, when I was talking about those emails that we send, these are examples of those emails for those teen members, those welcome messages that we send if they open an account with us. So when a teen member opens an account at Altra and gives us an email address, we'll send them their welcome kit digitally. And then like 3 to 5 days later, we send them a reminder email about all of our digital products, so that they have everything that they have access to as a teen member. And the reason that we do this is because we've found that the more they use those digital products, the more likely they are to continue to stay with us. And, you know, it helps them because they want everything at their fingertips. They want to know everything right away, whether they're using their debit card. And one of the things that we really try to teach them right away is, you know, you have this debit card, you can swipe it, but you want to make sure that you're keeping track of your money, because so many kids aren't keeping track of their money. They don't use a check register. They want to just use online banking. And we really try to teach them, you know, when you're looking at your online banking, make sure if it says pending, like just because it hasn't come out yet doesn't mean it's not going to. So don't think that that money is not there. And so just make sure that they're really educated on how to use that debit card and things like that. So we really try to make sure that they're very educated before they leave the office. And then we make sure to send these messages to continue that education later. And we do have pretty decent open rates on these emails. And when they're in the office, we really try to encourage them to give us their email address, so they're the ones that are getting the messages versus mom and dad, because again, we want to make sure that they're getting the education, not necessarily mom and dad looking at the email and maybe not passing on that information. And then also going along with that education, we realized that retention is really key. So again, education, focusing on those digital tools. A few years ago, we started a retention campaign. We realized that we were really, really good at getting accounts. As I said, we grew our youth membership like 66, 67% over the 6 years that I've been here, which is great. But we also realized that, you know, for a couple of years there, we were having a lot of people closing accounts and we couldn't really figure out why. So we wanted to dig a little bit deeper. And one of the reasons that we found out why was because, you know, they were moving away from us, or they weren't necessarily sure of what products or services we offered. So we wanted to make sure that we educated them, and we felt like the teenage years was the most important. So we start email campaigns at 13 years old, and the first one goes out, all the emails go out the month after their birthday. So, you know, we will send them emails at 13, 14, and so on. And all of our messages are different. You know, we'll talk to them about digital services. We talk to them about the importance of savings and how can we help you save more. We talk to them about budgeting and identity theft, the importance of building credit, loans. We talk to them about auto buying versus leasing. We talk to them about checking accounts, you know, the difference between a bank and a credit union. So all of these emails go all the way up until they're age 23. So we have several different kinds of emails that go out, and then we've just strategically placed them at different age levels. And again, we've really just kind of dialed in at different age levels, and we did focus groups with different ages to try to figure out when would you like this information and why is it important that you would get this type of information at this age. And, you know, because we started it before we did the focus groups, and then after we did the focus groups, they were like, we don't care about that information at that age. And we're like, oh, okay, well, maybe we should change some things around. So that's why we did that. And it was really important that we held those focus groups, because we weren't getting a lot of click-throughs or opens on our emails, and we couldn't figure out why. And after we held that focus group, we got a lot more engagement on different things that we were doing. And then we focus up we change up our message and our graphics and different things usually every year. So it's something different, it's something fresh and new. We try to include videos, so it's not just, you know, very text heavy and blocky. We give them links and, you know, a whole bunch of different things. So it's not just all text that we're throwing at them. We want them to be able to be engaged in things, because that's really important too. And then with our retention, it's important to have metrics to go off of. So there's certain metrics that I have to track each year to see how our efforts are going. And a few of those metrics are our average age of membership. And so our average age of membership is 39.7, which is lower than the industry average of 48, I believe. And then the nation average is 39.8. So we're like right on par with the average age of the nation, which is great. And, you know, we have a goal much lower than that. So we're still working on it, and it has to adjust every once in a while. We wanted to be a lot lower than that by this time a couple of years ago, and we're not there. So we, you know, our goals have to adjust. But obviously, you know, there's always things that are going to happen. When we also went through and did our research, we realized that if a youth member joins under the age of 18, they are actually more likely to have a higher services per member with us than if they joined over the age of 18. So that is another key metric that we track year after year, and that has not changed in the 6 years that we've been tracking it. So they may not necessarily be profitable right away when they join the credit union, but they're definitely profitable later. They are more likely to get credit cards and houses and cars and personal loans and use all of the other online services and things like that with you. So that's definitely a seller, and I'm very fortunate to have executive staff that believe in our youth and see that, yeah, they may not have the services per member right away when they're 2 because they can't, but they may in 15, 20, 30 years from now. So they're looking at it in the long run, not necessarily today, which is great. And then we obviously look at other metrics like why accounts are closed, the percentage of closed accounts, what the overall credit union membership growth is compared to what the youth contributes to that, and how our membership numbers fluctuate. And we're continually keeping tabs on inactive membership, because we obviously don't want to just add members to add members. We want to add members that are going to stay with us and use our products and services and things like that. And the other number that we always look at is how many members joined Altra as a youth. And this number continually goes up every year. Right now we're tracking at 24.7% of our overall membership, which is great. You know, 1/4 of our membership joined under the age of 18, which is phenomenal. And that just goes to show that we really, I think, have a great youth program. We have a lot of members that trust Altra and the financial education that we offer. We constantly fill up our youth seminars that we offer, and that's been one of, I think, the greatest things that we can offer to our members and non-members. People join just because of the seminars that we offer. So that's been great. And then that last bullet up there, the real world kits, that was something that came out of our retention efforts as well. We send at age 17 a real world kit to our members, just to remind them of all of our products and services that we have to offer. And we actually inform them of our Altra mobile deposit if they weren't already aware, because a lot of people leave for college or the military, and they think that they have to close their account because there's not going to be a branch near them. So this is something that I would highly suggest if your credit union offers. Inform them of the co-op shared branch options that are out there. Inform them of any type of mobile deposit that is out there. You know, getting them at that age to know about all of your e-services, because if they think that they have to leave you just because your branch is not right next to their university or their military base or their work location, that's something that I think they're the most scared of, is they can't take you with them. And that's something that they really need to know. And then I wanted to just share a couple of photos that kind of showcase our community involvement. We do several events throughout the year. We go out and do expos for kids. We go out and do parades. And we do an Easter egg hunt every year. We're actually about to do our 48th annual Easter egg hunt, where we have the Easter Bunny, and like that bottom left-hand photo of the Easter egg hunt, that was a couple years ago when the weather was phenomenal. We had like 1,600 kids show up, and that's not including parents and grandparents that showed up as well. So it's, you know, getting out and going and doing those community things and inviting people who aren't even members to join in and do these things. That bottom middle photo is one of our seminars where we invite people who aren't members to come and learn about money and budgeting and things like that. We start educating at age 8. We open up day camps in the summer for kids to come, and we have seminars all the way up to 18 years old. And again, opening it up to non-members, we're able to send out press releases, and we have a lot of newspapers that are willing to pick those up and send those out because we do so much in the community for our non-members. And I can't tell you the number of people that show up that aren't members but become members immediately afterwards just because they came to a seminar and they were so blown away that we were willing to offer this to them just because they weren't a member. So it's been a great opportunity to be able to do that and be able to provide that for our community. So I think that that's been great as well. And then this last slide is just kind of a couple of tips and different things out there for Youth Month and Youth Savings Week that, you know, feel free to take advantage of. Like Kathleen said, the deck will be going out, so all of this will be in there. I will also send out all of the different things with Youth Month that we had talked about earlier, all the links that I have access to that I can send you and whatnot. Then I did get a chat pop up.
Great.
With a federal charter, how are you able to do the community events? I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
Maybe Taylor could give a little bit more information, and then Danielle, I had a question for you. So, and I'm not sure you mentioned it, but something Danielle shared with us when we were preparing the webinar that I thought everyone would find interesting. You mentioned those real world kits. Ultra's so committed to, you know, kind of keeping those 17-year-olds and transitioning that they actually send a $5 checkout that the 17-year-old can then use mobile deposit for. I thought that that was so unique and such a smart idea, because as we all talk about e-services, I know I'm out at conferences all the time talking about e-services. If we do a great job with our technology, it's going to become increasingly important to get our members young and to hang on to them. So I love your $5 check. And then my question for you, Danielle, you mentioned teen branches and that it's mostly e-services. One thing I know some of the credit unions we work with struggle is, how do you open accounts for those teenagers? Do you have online account opening that they can do in that branch? Can they open accounts right from there?
So that has actually been one of our struggle points. We have a lot of restrictions with our account opening. where parents have to be on most of our accounts. And so even when we were a physical branch, we still had to have parents there. And so we ended up, we will do promotions, and we ask that they go into our branches that are very close to the schools. So our branches are less than a mile away from the school, so we ask the students to go into the branches with their parent. And then when we run promotions at the school, we usually hand like a coupon that says, hey, you're a student, you're eligible for this promotion, and the branch will honor that promotion. Okay. And then one of the other things that we do that has been super, super successful for us and it's been very well accepted by the schools, is we will have account opening days where when parents are on site, the schools will actually, when they send packets home to the parents for like registration or orientation, we will actually have a computer set up on site where we can open up accounts, or we'll take applications, and we will send a flyer home in the school's packet and say, hey, we're going to be on site. If you fill out an application on site this day and you bring in your driver's license and social security number, like, we will open up accounts on site this day for you. And so that's been really great to be able to do. It's been a difficult transition to the e-branches with a lot of the students. It's a lot of students remember when we had the physical branches, so they didn't really understand the transition. It's hard for them to understand why we did it. We have one school that is off campus, or allows off-campus lunch, or is an open campus, I should say. So they have, I would say we have about 50% of the students that love it. They love being able to just walk up, stick their card in an ATM, and walk out so that they can go get lunch from the grocery store that's literally located right next door, or the 4 different, Subway or, burrito shops that are right next to the school. So it's worked out fantastic for them. Our office is open every single day there. There's no hours. The door is unlocked. They can walk in, walk out as they please. It's more of a kind of like a hangout spot. There's like a counter in there with iPads and outlets so that they can charge their computers. We have a phone charging station in there and a TV in there that's constantly running our promotions, and then the ATM. So it's really kind of more like a lounge. So that one's worked out nice, and it's been accepted. But then you've got the other half of the school that remembers when it was still a traditional teller line, and they miss being able to cash their checks or deposit money. So it's been a little bit of a rough transition there. Whereas the other school, we have been an e-service branch there for 4 years now. So we don't have any students left there that remember it ever being a traditional teller line. They've only ever known it as an e-service branch. So it's more well adopted there now. We did still have struggles when we first moved to it. That one is located inside of their school store, and they also have a coffee shop. So it's one giant room where we have a wall, and our ATM is in there. There's a TV that's running our promotions, and then we have a student in there that's able to answer any questions. And then right next to ours is their little coffee shop. And then the school store is across from our area, so they've got like clothes racks and things like that. And then they have a TV in there with couches and chairs. And so again, that's more of a hangout area. So both of them have been really well adopted. as far as hangout locations, and they're open all day for students to access. But it is definitely a unique concept. It's very different, and there's still a little bit of pushback from students or staff that wish that they could deposit checks and things like that. So it is different. But yeah, it's different. I will say that.
Well, Chelsea, we like your feedback about doing a session maybe just on these e-branches and how they work. And I think that would be a good one if Danielle's willing to in the future.
Yes.
As well, we'll definitely look into that. And then Taylor added a little bit more information. Having a closed membership, we are unable to do community events, so it makes it difficult. Do you have any pointers for online account openings? We have nationwide membership, and most of our members have a branch. Do you guys have a good account opening?
Okay. We do offer online account opening. I am not as actively involved in that portion. We go through, I believe our vendor is Connect, and they work with our core, which is DNA. And unfortunately, that's about as much as I know on that. Well, I'm unfortunately not as actively involved in those conversations. They just tell me what I can and cannot do.
So other credit unions on the phone, we definitely have, 30 plus credit unions on the line right now. If you have any ideas for Taylor, you mean for Youth Academy money jars? Okay.
Okay.
So if they open it online, how do you send that?
If they open online. Okay. Yes. So if somebody does open an account online, we still onboard them the exact same way. So we will mail them a packet of all of our information. So we will send them a packet with all of our M3 and all of our youth information. We will send them a money jar and a welcome letter and say, welcome to the credit union. Obviously, they'll have given us an email address because they opened it online. So they will get information through online. It's not necessarily youth related, but they do get all of their, important disclosure information that way. And then if they are a teen member, they would get all of that onboarding information digitally, the same way that they would if they were to give an email address in person.
Great, that's awesome. Taylor, I hope that helped answer your question. If not, feel free to follow up. I'll give one more minute. If anyone has any last questions, please chat them in for Danielle. Oh, great, Taylor, that's great. I'm glad that answered. And thank you all. And I just want to say a big thank you to Danielle. Again, Altra and Danielle have been such an amazing partner to us, and we appreciate her taking the time to put this presentation together. Again, we'll send it out to everyone, but Danielle, we really appreciate your time. And again, I learned something every time. I took a lot of notes today on all the cool things you guys are doing. So thank you.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. All right, well, we'll give everyone 5 minutes back in their day, but email us post the webinar if you have any additional questions. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.